say shalom aleinu. Oh, say shalom bimromav. Uya say shalom aleinu. Oh, say shalom bimromav. Uya say shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam.
Yaseh shalom,
Shalom
shalom aleinu
aleinu
ve'al kol Yisrael.
ve'al kol Yisrael.
Yaseh shalom,
Yaseh shalom
shalom aleinu
ve'al
לחדשה שבחו גאולים לשמחה על שפת הים. יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו Kadosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ka'al Yisrael. Say Adonai Eloheinu Be'amcha Yisrael U'tefilatam Be'ahavat Yikabel. Humbled in prayer we seek to reach you, hoping to be heard, hearts open wide, longing to be true. Oh, let us know that you are near. Open our hearts that we may hear your still clear voice within us all. May we be worthy in our prayer and feel your presence everywhere. And may we answer when you call. Say Adonai Eloheinu Be'amcha Yisrael U'tefilatam Be'ahavat Yikabel. Oh, let us know that you are near. Open our hearts that we may hear your still clear voice within us all. May we be worthy in our prayer and feel your presence everywhere. And may we answer when you call. And may you ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל.
And Shabbat Shalom, it's Rabbi Flip with a quick ask. We are so happy that so many of you have been enjoying our programs virtually, our classes, our services. We also would love it if you would think of us at the end of the year as you think of your tzedakah, your end of the year giving. If you travel over to our website, we have any number of funds you can contribute to. Our general fund, a music fund, there are education funds. If you like what you see, if you want to remain supportive of us and all that we're trying to accomplish in creating community, then join us in our mission, consider membership, but certainly go over to our donation page and help contribute something by the end of the year. Thank you and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. It's nice to see you all here. As you can see, there's no one at this podium tonight. The rabbis are out of town, so I will be here leading you through the service. And I think I know most of you, but if you don't know me, my name's Lisa Silver, and I have the wonderful, talented John Mock here with me, and Jim Gilmore back there doing the sound, thank goodness. So we're glad you're here. And I want to also say, of course, it's Shabbat, but for our interfaith families and friends, it's also Christmas Eve. And I'm glad that you're choosing to spend Christmas Eve here with us, and I'm glad that you're choosing to spend Shabbat with us. So tonight, if you haven't grabbed a Siddur prayer book, here's your chance to do it. We're just doing old school tonight, no slides except for a nice little logo on the back. We're going to use the books. So, and I'm going to do my best to remember to tell you the page numbers. Sometimes I forget, but I've got it written down. So right now we're going to turn to page 8. and if you'd like to, you can read with me. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services. But I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. And we like to also bring more light into the world by lighting candles, and I've asked Helene Schwartz to please come up and light the candles for us. We'll turn to page 2, the candle blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, creator of the universe, creator of the universe. By your commandments we are sanctified as we kindle the lights of Shabbat. We turn to page 20. Join together in the words of L'chad Odi, welcoming the Shabbat bride. 1, 2, 1, 2. L'chad Odi, l'chakala, yalala, 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 B'nai Shabbat, Kabbalah. L'chad Odi, l'chakala, yalala, 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 B'nai Shabbat, for the words of Chatzi Kaddish on page 26. Yitkara v'yitkara shamei rabba ba'ama divrach yirutei v'yahamlich malchutei b'chai echon v'yom echon uv'chai rechol beit Yisrael b'gala uv'izman kariv v'inaru Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Ul'almei Almaya Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnasei V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shmei Dekudesha Le'elam in kol birchata V'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran belma ve'imru Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Please be seated. We read together at the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and seasons glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night as heaven spans to infinity. You set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 32. chant together the words of V'ahavta on page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'b'lechtecha v'derech u'v'shachbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam lot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtabtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha l'man tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan writes, "We are not born free and equal, but are born to become free and equal. It is the goal of all social endeavor to bring about equality in the inequality into which people are born. It is the goal of spiritual endeavor to make humanity free. We sing of our freedom from slavery when we crossed over the Red Sea with the words of Micha Mocha on page 40. Page 43 at the top. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeis sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. We sing the words of Hashkina. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomrenu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake in morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Page 44. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. We sing together the words of the Shabbat. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'dorotam b'rit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, ubayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayi nafal. We turn to page 126 and we rise for the Amidah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, u'Mevi Gula Livnei v'Nehem, L'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav le'hoshia. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim v'rofech holim, umatir asurim. Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, milchamocha ba'al gevurot umido melach, melech memit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai milchayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahlelucha salah. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. Author Anne Lamott, in her book Help, Thanks, Wow, shares these thoughts about prayer. Some of us have cavernous vibrations inside us when we communicate with God. Others are more rational and less messy in our spiritual sense of reality, in our petitions and gratitude and expressions of pain or anger or desolation or praise. Prayer means that in some unique way, we believe we're invited into a relationship with someone who hears us when we speak in silence. We now take a few moments for our own silent prayer. I bet many of you are familiar with the next song. I had remembered loving it from my childhood, and some years ago, when I was cleaning out my dad's piano bench, I found this sheet music from 1961. You may recognize it. 25 cents. So many people think of it as just a Christmas song because it's often sung by school choirs and programs and Christmas concerts, but let me fill you in on the song's history because there is indeed a Jewish connection. Cy Miller, originally Seymour Miller, born in 1908 in New York City, and Jill Jackson, born Evelyn Merchant in 1913 in Independence, Missouri, were a husband and wife songwriting team. In 1955, they wrote a song about their dream of peace for the world and how they believed each one of us could help create it. And that, of course, is a very Jewish concept. They first introduced the song to a group of teenagers selected from their high schools to attend a week-long mountaintop retreat in California. The young people were purposefully from different religious, racial, cultural, and economic backgrounds, but together to experiment with creating understanding and friendship through education, discussion groups, and living and working together in a camp situation. Cy Miller wrote in his own words what happened. When they came down from the mountain, these inspired young people brought the song with them and started sharing it. And as though on wings, Let There Be Peace on Earth began an amazing journey around the globe. It traveled first, of course, with the young campers back to their homes and schools, churches, synagogues, and clubs. Soon, the circle started by the teenagers began to grow. Before long, the song was being shared in all 50 states, at school graduations and at PTA meetings, at Christmas and Easter gatherings, and as part of the celebration of Brotherhood Week. It was a theme for Veterans Day, Human Rights Day, and United Nations Day. 4-H clubs and the United Auto Workers began singing it. So did the American Legion, the B'nai B'rith, the Kiwanis clubs, and CORE. It was taped, recorded, copied, printed in songbooks, and passed by word of mouth. And of course, this was all even before YouTube and the internet. Professional singers began singing it. Hundreds of singers from Tennessee Ernie Ford, Nat King Cole, the Norman Luboff Choir, and Liberace, to Harriet Connick Jr., Bonnie Raitt, and most recently, Vince Gill. Let There Be Peace on Earth was awarded the George Washington Honor Medal by the Freedoms Foundation at Valley Forge for outstanding achievement in helping to bring about a better understanding of the American way of life. It also received a Brotherhood Award from the National Conference of Christians and Jews. And although we don't have the words on the screen tonight, I'm guessing some of you may be familiar with the words, so if you'd like to, please feel free to sing along. Whoops, hold on, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna bring peace on earth if we're not playing in the same key. Okay, here we go. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. With God as our creator, with God as our creator, family all are we, family all are we. Let us walk with each other, let us walk with each other in perfect harmony, in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me, let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, with every step just love that song. It just makes me happy to sing it. So at this place in our service every week, we like to think about people who are in need of healing, who might not be feeling peace in their body or mind or spirit. And this evening, we are thinking of Steve Geringer, Paul Richter, Crystal Miller, Charlie Baugh, Dick Eskind, B.B. Weinstein, Alex Morgan, Bill Drongowski, Edria Ragusin, Janice Grossman, Jill Gutnicht, Florence Wittenstein-Saperstein, Mike Harris, Caitlin Koppelman, Michael Groh, Karen Coltonow, Jessica Waldron, Tara Sprott, George Hahn, Ann Norman, Julie Gugliami, Alan Sherman, and if you have any names that you'd like to add, please feel free to do so. Susan Burdine. We turn to page 253, I think, for the words of Misha Beira. So tonight I've chosen to share a sermon with you from Rabbi Bradley Shavit Arntzen about Parshat Shemot. Every place is not the same. Intuitively, we have a sense that there are distinctions of space that are just as fundamental to human identity as are distinctions in time. When we enter the elevated vaults of a Gothic cathedral, marvel at the staggering beauty of the Grand Canyon, or shrink under the lofty heights of a New York skyscraper, we respond distinctly to different spaces. Is the distinction between one place and another something intrinsic to the place itself, or the result of perceiving different meanings in different places? Would there be different places if there were no different viewers? This week's Torah reading contains the first biblical example of a sacred space, and thereby provides a view of how Judaism approaches the notion of distinction in space. Having fled from Egypt and his execution of a cruel taskmaster, Moses arrives in Midian and attaches himself to the family of Jethro, a local patriarch. One day, while caring for Jethro's flock, Moses approaches a mountain where he sees a strange phenomenon. It looks like a burning bush, although the bush appears to be impervious to the fire. His curiosity aroused, Moses approaches the flame. Suddenly, the holy voice of God commands, "Do not come closer. Remove the sandals from your feet, for the place on which you stand is holy ground." Is the ground holy because there is something special and unique about that particular place? Or is its holiness contextual, deriving from its special use at that moment? What makes a place holy? The great Gaon, Saadia, was one of the earliest to recognize that holiness is not intrinsic to any one particular site. Rather, holiness is the result of what we do, and the meaning we can focus into a particular moment or special ritual on that site. In commenting on the words holy ground, Saadia explains that the phrase means made holy. The sanctity of that site derives from what God and Moses do there, not from the nature of the place itself. Similarly, Ramban recognizes that even though the site is distant from the bush, take care with it, because the descent of God's presence sanctified all of the mountain. Hizkuni notes a similar description elsewhere in the Bible. When Joshua is commanded to circumcise the Israelites, he is told that he should remove his shoes because the place is sacred. When the priests ministered in the tabernacle's Holy of Holies, they did so barefoot. Why? The Ramban explains, because in every instance in which a sign of God's presence precedes prophecy, there you find the place sanctified. Judaism wrestles with the tension created by the unequal natures of God and humanity. We are finite and tangible. We perceive reality through our senses, and we experience meaning through our emotions. God, according to Jewish teaching, is beyond body, beyond limit or understanding. How can two such different orders of being meet in a relationship? How can the infinite and the universal accommodate the needs of the moral and the individual? How can God and humanity ever encounter one another? From the perspective of human need, sacred space is real and essential. In the words of religion professor Jonathan Smith, we require a focusing lens for meaning. That lens is the function of sacred space. In that space, made sacred because of what we do and experience there, we can explore our spiritual depths, encounter the holiness of life, and reaffirm our sacred identity as Jews. In our synagogues and houses of study, we can encounter God. But God does not need sacred space. If God is everywhere, then all space is equally sacred, presenting equal insight into God's presence and promise. Sacred space is religion's accommodation to human beings. Our finiteness, our need to witness the special signs of sanctity, the Torah scroll, the Talit, or the Shabbat candles, to hear the sounds that recall religious fervor, the shofar call or the chant of Kol Nidre, all contribute to our sense of meaning and connection. God may not need our rituals, but being fully human requires establishing reliable tools to focus our attention, to help us concentrate on who we are and what we value, to link us to the universe and its creator. Moses stood on sacred soil because in that context, he was in the presence of God and he knew it. We too stand in a sacred place anytime we are aware of the lofty potential of that moment and of all moments. Perhaps that is the ultimate mission of the Jew, to transform every moment into a sacred moment and every place into a sacred place. Then, in a world of ritual profundity, ethical rigor, and social justice, we too will remove our shoes in reverence, the better to savor God's awesome embrace. Shabbat Shalom. So how would the Averys like to come up and open the ark? Abelmans, you're off the hook. And let's please rise for Elenu on page 283. Aleinu l'shabech l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. We remain standing. Tonight we are honoring the following yahrzeits: Sarah Lickstein, Celia Breslerman, Robbie Speakman, Solomon, Barbara Goldstein, Kenneth Middleberg, David Copenhagen, Daniel Hexter, Frank Fleissman, Erwin Bletcher, Rachel Fleissman, Elton Henry Geschweiler, Tybee Kleiner, Myron D. Schreibman, Ronald Cohen, Helen Shattuck, Salhan, Nimrod Mendelovith, Marcia Susan Lind, Jean Gertner, Mary Carl Wolf, Dr. Sidney Harshman, Tilly Cohen. We continue mourning for Louis Hershkowitz, Bruce Goldstein, Jerry Lee Kopelman, Anita Ray Head, Steve Gould, Gail Provisor Simmons, Joseph TeWill, Amy Brodkey, J.J. Amsel, Toby Spiegel, and Stephen Joel Dubin. If you have any names that you'd like to add, please feel free. We recite the words together of Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma tivarach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach ba'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. Please be seated. I have just a couple announcements. Let's see. Micah Children's Academy will be closed starting December 22nd until January 3rd. The Micah office will be closed starting December 24th until January 3rd, and there will not be any meetings during this time. And next week, New Year's Eve Shabbat, we're going to be doing on Zoom. So be watching your email for a Zoom link. We decided it kind of made sense that we could, stay home in our PJs and drink champagne for a nice New Year's Eve Shabbat instead of driving. So I hope you'll join us for that. I believe that Michael Oakes is going to be joining us from wherever he is, and that's really special because we haven't had him with us in a long time. So we'll have some nice music, and looking forward to that. Support our December social action drives by bringing cooking oil for the Nashville Food Project. You can leave it out there, and blankets for Blanket Nashville. Drop off your items by the Micah office next time you're here. So thank you, and Shabbat Shalom. Well, let's hold on here. If you want to sing along with me, I'm going to turn this on, plug it in. And it's easy. We don't have any words. It's just la, la, la. Ya, la, 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 ya, la.